Hello, listeners, and welcome to this edition of Bookie Bashing. I'm your host, Anthony Nikki Jr., alongside my two trusted gambling colleagues, Mr. Ace Berg.
Welcome back, folks. How are we?
And Joey Staxxx.
Gentlemen, how are we? Ladies, how you doing?
We're coming back at you with 5 free picks for Week 2 of the NFL season. Of course, the only place on the web where you're getting 3 of the top handicappers' minds coming together and giving you 5 winners each week. Exciting for Week 2. Last week, a little bit of a disappointment. Obviously, 2-3. Tough way to start the season, but this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And we escaped a tough weekend, a really tough weekend to call. Of course, we were right on with the Tennessee Titans. Told you they would handle Kansas City. They did just that. Wasn't even a sweat the entire game. We were right on with that Carolina game. Defense shows up, 17-14. The first odds maker error of the season as Carolina gets the job done in an outright winner. Could have easily been 3-2. Baltimore looked like they were going to get it done. Looked like they were showing up in the second half. And then next thing you know, the ball kicks off of A.J. Green's back heel, lands into his arms. He's running for a touchdown, and we're watching our victory go out the window. Next thing you know, we're 2-3 instead of 3-2. That won't happen this week. We're coming at you with 5 winners. We feel great about these games, and I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into Week 2 of the NFL season.
Detroit at Carolina.
Took advantage of a big odds maker error in Week 1 of the NFL season when we rode the Carolina Panthers to victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This week, we're coming right back at you and doing it again. Just like we said last week, you're getting great value here with a team that was in the NFC Championship game last season. And now I'm only laying 2.5 points at home against the Detroit Lions. Great time to bet against the Lions. Here's a Detroit team that everybody is up on, as they just looked great on Monday Night Football when they rolled out the New York Giants. Detroit comes in 0-4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games following a 14-point or greater victory. What does that mean? Here's a team that takes the week off after a big win. They're feeling good. They're on a short week now, and they have to head to Carolina to take on one of the top defenses in football. They proved it last week. I'm getting Cam Newton back, and I'm getting a Carolina team that was 6-1-1 against the spread at home last season. Take the Panthers, great value here, to defeat the Detroit Lions by more than 3.
Yeah, these Panthers know how to get it done on the defensive side of the ball. They looked fantastic last week, as we knew they would. And folks, guess what? Now we got Cam Newton back. Thought he was going to play last week, but we'll definitely have him this week. Last week, my man Kelvin Benjamin got his, like I said he would, and he's going to continue to do so all season long. And his defense looked great last week, too, and they're going to do the same this week. They're grinding, they're pounding, and they're sticking. These Panthers are going to get the job done.
I agree with you, Joey. Now, if you listened last week, you know I love these Panthers. I think all of America is undervaluing just how good these Panthers are right now. They're a team that was in the NFC Championship last year, and that can't go overlooked. They were almost a Super Bowl team, guys, and if they had gotten to that Super Bowl, it'd be them that everyone's talking up and not these teams on the West Coast. Now, I'll just say this. The Detroit Lions are very undisciplined. Probably as undisciplined as an NFL team gets. And when you're playing a great defense, maybe the best defense in all of football, like you have in the Carolina Panthers, and you're going away from a dome onto a tough field like Carolina, God, these Lions might be really bad this week.
A lot of this country loving Detroit right now. They love how good the offense is. I think you're going to see this offense struggling to move the football this week. Take Carolina. They get the job done easily. 31-20 victory at home.
New England at Minnesota.
New England drew a really tough matchup in Week 1 when they had to head to Miami to face a Dolphins team that is practicing that hot and humid weather all summer. And now New England has to come in against a team that really plays them well. They meet twice every season, and it's not an easy draw for Brady. So they lose that game. Vegas comes back. They make the exact same spread this week as they lay 3 on the road in Minnesota. They want to scare you, folks. Don't be scared by the line. Bet the Patriots hard. Here's a New England team that's 32-13-1 against the spread in their last 46 following a straight-up loss. No way the Patriots fall to 0-2 this season. No way Brady lets it happen. The Vikings, they have a hard time maintaining consistency. They rolled out a very weak Rams team last week, and now they have to play a real Super Bowl contender in New England at home in Week 2. I don't expect the Vikings to show up for this game. New England easily by double digits.
Yeah, I really like these Patriots. I think they're one of the safer picks this week. They are so much better than this Minnesota Vikings team. They're also a team that almost got to the Super Bowl last year, and this Vikings team is really bad. They're the exact same team they were last year. I'm not buying into these Vikings. I think the Patriots can really take advantage of maybe that linebacker core in Minnesota, possibly exploit that secondary. I think a big day for Gronk. Maybe we see Brandon LaFell's name for the first time all year. I think these Patriots might easily move the ball, and I don't see the Vikings being able to do much.
Yeah, Bill Belichick and crew will definitely be hitting the books, watching some films, making sure that they are well prepared for this matchup. Tom Brady and Gronk, the connection was there. As far as the rest of the receivers, a couple of things that were uncharacteristic of them, but you know that's eating at him. You know he's had that on his mind all week long. Brady's been working on what he needed to work on at the practices, and he will be ready to play come Sunday. Patriots, the much better team. Tom Brady in the dome. Boy, that sounds nice. Get ready for a high-scoring affair in Minnesota.
I really think you can't devalue what a tough draw New England had last week. Going into that weather to play a division opponent, they bounced back. They proved they are still a Super Bowl contender. 27-13 victory at Minnesota.
Atlanta at Cincinnati.
Even though they stole a victory from us last week, we're coming back at you with the Cincinnati Bengals at -5 in their home opener this Sunday. You got to give the Bengals some credit for showing up against the tough Ravens team on the road last week. Division rivalry, they get a nice win, and now they get to come back home. The country is all over the Atlanta Falcons. They love them following a high-scoring game, a shootout in the opener against the Saints that really could have went either way. The Falcons were looking forward to that game all offseason, I can guarantee it. They wanted to show they were back in the NFC South playoff picture, and they came in and they put it all on the line against the Saints. Now they got to go to Cincinnati, and it's a great time for a letdown. The Bengals come in 8-0 against the spread at home last year. And now the defense looks good, and Andy Dalton always plays better at home than he does on the road. I expect the Bengals to show up in this game and prove that they are a much better team than the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, these Bengals are a much better team than the Falcons, and that's what the public seems to have forgotten about. Early on, 70% of the public is on these Atlanta Falcons. These same Atlanta Falcons that we all laughed at when they were on Hard Knocks, and the same Falcons that we all laughed at last season. Now, these Bengals, again, are a playoff team. Now, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but they are a playoff team, and their defense at the moment is very good, if not great. Ryan might have thrown for 450 last week. He doesn't do that again against a much better Bengals defense than the Saints. Right now we're playing a bogus Falcons team at home, and all of the public's against us. I just don't see how the Bengals don't pull this out, and in a big way.
I love me some Roddy White. I love me some Julio Jones, but not when we're playing in Cincinnati. This defense is going to keep those guys in check. They're going to play a strong game. And on the offensive side, I got my man A.J. Green, and he's going to have a big, big day. A lot of scoring on Cincinnati's side. They're going to roll this one.
Yeah, honestly, this is one of those games that I really think can get ugly quick. I think the Bengals defense shows up. Atlanta really struggles to move the ball. And I think Dalton has a great game in his home opener. I'm looking at Cincinnati to roll in this one, 31-17.
New York at Green Bay.
Green Bay comes into their home opener, laying 8 points against the New York Jets, and you gotta love the Packers in this game. Here's a Green Bay team that hasn't played since last Thursday, so automatically I got 4 extra days to prepare for this game. And they had such a tough opener in Seattle with the 12th man. Super Bowl banner was being raised. A lot of people liked Green Bay in that game. Of course, we were all about the Seahawks, but that's such an emotional game. It's really a game that you're not going to see the true Green Bay Packers. Rodgers wants to prove something this week in the home opener, and I think this offense is going to go off. Double-digit victory for the Packers here. Jets just barely beat the Oakland Raiders at home last week, and they're only 1-4-1 against the spread following a straight-up win. I don't expect them to be able to keep up with the scoring Green Bay does. Expect the Packers to cover easily.
Yeah, the Packers offense struggled a little bit last week, but they're looking at Richard Sherman and Byron Maxwell. Those guys ain't here this week. We got a Jets defense that has been good in the past, and they're not horrible this year, but we're looking at a Packers team that's going to explode in their home opener. This team is going to be lighting up that scoreboard, and a bad Jets offense, in my opinion. The Packers home opener, coming off a loss, they are going to light up that scoreboard. This game just has that feel where you know that this is going to be a Packers double-digit victory.
Now, guys, we all know about Aaron Rodgers and his Packers offense. It's deadly. It's one of the best in the league. I want to take you back to last week with these New York Football Jets. It was about as good as things could get. They won 19-14. They beat out the Raiders in yards, 402 to 158. That was Jets football. Geno Smith was 23 for 28. 82% completion percentage, fourth highest by a Jets quarterback with more than 20 attempts. It was as good as you can get. It's not going to be like that this week in Green Bay. It's going to get ugly. Geno's going to have a lot of incompletions. The Jets committed 11 penalties last week in that win. Expect to see more penalties by them with a more hostile crowd in Green Bay. God, if the wind gets a little picking up, things really could get ugly quick. The Packers roll.
Love Green Bay in the home opener. Like we said, they probably had the toughest opponent week 1 of the NFL season in Seattle, defending Super Bowl champions. I expect Green Bay to light up this scoreboard. 42-24 victory.
Philadelphia at Indianapolis.
Coming at you with our first Monday Night Football play of the season here as the Eagles travel to Indianapolis, and you have to love the over in this game. These two teams might score 100. I'm not even kidding. Over 53. It started at 51. It's been flying up ever since. Get this in as soon as possible. Here are two teams that struggle on defense and can move the ball at will. Not only that, they fly on turf. The Colts, 7 of their last 10 have gone over when playing on turf. The Eagles, 4 out of their last 5. Colts, 9-4 over in their last 13 games. Eagles, 7-2 in their last 9 overs on the road. Everything says this game flies over. This Eagles team scores at will. They're going to move the ball. They're going to score in 2-minute drives. Even if the Colts try to run the ball early, it's still going to turn into a shootout. You got to love this game to fly over the posted total.
This over is a guarantee. It's just as simple as that. The Eagles don't tackle. The Colts don't cover. It just screams over. They're not going to stop scoring even when the whistle blows. They're just going to keep scoring points because that's what they love to do. Both these teams just love to throw, love to run. The Colts don't have a viable running back right now, so they're going to have to throw. The Eagles, they have one of the best running backs in the league. They don't care. They love to throw it anyway. It's just going to be point after point after point after point. Even if it starts off slow in the first quarter, I don't even care. This game's still going to fly over.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too far into this one. We got the Eagles offense, which is insanely explosive, probably the most explosive offense in the NFL. But they put up 34 points in that half last week. We know what Andrew Luck and these Colts can do. He's got his Reggie Waynes and his T.Y. Hiltons. They're going to score their fair share of points. Eagles are scoring points. We're in a dome. It's going over.
Both of these offenses are going to show up on primetime Monday Night Football. They both have a lot to prove, and at some point this game is going to turn into a shootout. The Eagles want to score quickly. The Colts are going to want to score quickly also. I don't see how these two teams don't fly over. I'm going to predict 41-38 Colts, but really I think it could land on either side. So I am very excited for week 2 of the NFL season. I look at this, feels great. I feel like we got 5 winners here on this card. You got Carolina minus 2.5 at home. You got New England laying 3 on the road. We got the Cincinnati Bengals back at home minus 5. The Green Bay Packers at home laying 8. And then on Monday night, we are flying over the posted total in the Eagles-Colts game at 53. 5 great bets, 4 free as always from your 3 top handicappers. Can't wait for this Sunday. Enjoy the game. Sit back and relax. For Ace Berg and Joey Staxxx, I am your host, Anthony Nikki Jr. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.